I built a $10 million business by 27, and I'm gonna show you exactly how I did it. 8 years ago, I was sleeping on a mattress in a cockroach-infested room with $8 grand to my name, and today I've generated over $90 million for my clients and worked with brands like Meta and Nike. And the truth is, if I had to do it again, I could, because it all came down to a few key principles. In this video, I'll show you exactly what those principles are and the 30-day plan that I'd use if I had to start over and rebuild it all even faster. Principle number one is what helped me go from zero to my first 10K a month. My boyfriend, now husband, Kyle, and I decided to start a business together, so I dropped out of college at 19 with $8,000 in savings. I actually wrote a letter to my parents about why I was dropping out, and to this day, I still get emails every week from people who find it and ask for advice about dropping out too. A few days before that, Kyle and I were sitting at my mom's kitchen table in the house I grew up in and watched Mark Zuckerberg's F8 keynote. Now, this is the conference that Meta does every year for developers, and at this one, he announced Facebook Messenger bots. He said every business would eventually use them to communicate with customers. This is the future of business to consumer communication, and we just looked at each other and go, this is it. We've got to build a business around this new technology. The thing is, we had no idea how to evaluate if this was even a good market. We just believed in it. We believed in Mark, we believed in Facebook, and we decided to go all in. So from there, we were like, we need to get out of our environment, away from anyone that we know, and just laser focus. We wanted to spend as little money as possible on housing, so we looked at some college towns. We decided to go to Isla Vista, which is in Santa Barbara, California, and there were a lot of cheap places that we could rent for the summer because most of the students were out of town. But it ended up being a complete nightmare. Cockroach-infested houses, ant-infested houses. We slept on this stained thin mattress on the floor. When I tell you these places were disgusting, like I opened the dishwasher one day, hundreds of cockroaches were living in there. I nearly puked. We ended up living in 3 different houses while we were there because somehow each one ended up being a little bit worse than the last. And for those 3 months straight, we made $0. But we knew we were gonna figure something out. So before I had dropped out, I had been a part of a business program where I was supposed to go to 3 top business schools, one in Los Angeles, one in Hong Kong, and one in Italy. And I would earn 3 bachelor's degrees in business by the time I graduated. So when I dropped out, I had already bought my plane ticket to Hong Kong, and since I had some extra cash, I just bought Kyle a ticket too. At the time, it made a ton of sense to me that we would go to Asia because I had read The 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss, and I forced Kyle to read it too. I was like, you have to read this book or you can't come with me. So once we decide to go to Asia, I think, cool, Tim Ferriss talks about how Thailand and some other places in Asia are amazing for Americans because cheap living, great networking, etc. So I thought, we'll do the same thing. I forgot about the part where Tim Ferriss already has a successful business that makes him money when he went and did this. But once we land in Asia, we end up spending a year and a half living in 7 different countries, 24 different apartments, and 50% of our time we went to as many business networking events as we could, and the other 50% was spent on us cold emailing and cold calling businesses in the US. Eventually, we cracked the code on getting results for our clients, which involved taking their organic content, driving people into Facebook Messenger, using AI to create automated back and forth conversations, and turning those conversations into customers. Back in 2018, no one was doing this. We were combining content marketing with AI in a way that felt personal, not robotic. And in our first 12 months, we hit 100K in revenue. So it wasn't life-changing money yet, but it was proof that the system we had created actually worked. And this taught me that actions precede feelings. Looking back, I would never tell someone to do what I did. Remove every familiar thing from your life. Start living with and start a business with your boyfriend or girlfriend at the same time and move overseas. It was absolutely insane. But here's what that brutal chaos taught me. You don't need to feel ready. You don't even need to feel confident. You don't even have to pick the right thing. You can just start moving because clarity will come from your action, not from thinking. And what I noticed as we met so many different people while traveling 7 countries is that most people spend 2 months deciding what to do, what to create. Instead, test 10 to 20 things in those same 2 months because you're gonna find something that you're good at and makes you money way faster. Principle number 2 is what took my business from $100K a year to $50,000 a month. And the crazy thing is, I learned it inside a $50,000 mastermind I didn't even pay for. After that first year and a half in Asia, hitting 100 grand, we were still feeling pretty lost about how to keep growing. So we actually moved back to the US to San Diego, which is an hour from where I grew up. I had zero network there. So I started joining Facebook groups trying to meet people. And I met this woman who had just moved to San Diego at the same time. She was about 7 years older than me, and she had been in digital marketing for maybe 5-10 years at that point. She had just been invited to a $50,000 mastermind that was being hosted at a hotel down the street from my apartment. So I didn't have that kind of money, but she brought me as her guest and I got to go for free. Now that mastermind was full of the most successful online marketers I had ever met in person. These were people running 8 to 9 figure companies and people who ran conferences with 10,000 to 15,000 attendees. And by the end of the mastermind, I had somehow convinced all of them to let me speak at their upcoming events. So I started speaking on these stages, and that landed us our first major clients, Mindvalley and ClickFunnels. Both are multi-$100 million a year companies. Now here's what I noticed. Both of those clients were information businesses. They sold courses and digital products, and we were really good at serving them. We understood their business model, we knew their marketing systems, we knew their pain points, so we made a decision. From now on, we're only working with course creators, coaches, and info businesses. No more local businesses, e-commerce, service providers, literally anyone else except them. And that shift took us from 100K in total revenue to 50K a month. So 2 takeaways for you. First, get into rooms with people who are already where you want to be. I know that sounds cliche, but you don't always need 50K to do it. And it's really easy to actually get in if you just do one of 3 things that I have done over and over. You can offer to volunteer, speak, or even make content and typically get in for free. It's called being relentlessly resourceful, one of my favorite phrases. And second, pay attention to patterns in your client work. We didn't plan to niche into info businesses. We just noticed that we had closed 2 great clients in the same space, and that was our signal to double down. So pick a niche where you're getting traction and go all in. Principle number 3 is a framework I learned from Alex Hormozi, and it's now made me millions. Once we had consistent revenue and good clients, we realized that we couldn't keep doing everything ourselves. We absolutely needed to hire a team. We needed systems. We needed processes that could run without us micromanaging every single little thing. So we started documenting everything, every client onboarding process, every DM funnel structure, every sales call framework. We hired and trained specialists, not generalists. So these were people who could own one part of the business and make it world-class. And at the same time, we established ourselves, our brand, as the DM funnel experts. So when anyone thought about Facebook or Instagram automation or DM funnels, they thought of us. And that positioning allowed us to charge premium prices and attract the exact clients that we wanted. But here's where most entrepreneurs fail. They stay in hustle mode way too long. They hold on too tightly to the things that are actually stealing time from working on growing the business. And they keep testing new things instead of doing more of what's already working. I later learned the solution to this by paying Alex Hormozi $100,000 to spend a day with him. If you don't know who he is, by the way, he's arguably the #1 business thought leader with a really impressive track record. And he taught me the 70-20-10 rule. You want to focus 70% of your effort on doing more of what's working, 20% on things that could make your results slightly better, and 10% on totally new experiments. And that one framework has made me millions of dollars because it's the difference between constantly chasing shiny objects and actually scaling. Principle number 4 is what took my business from $1 million to $10 million, and most people completely overlook it. By the time we hit $1 million in revenue, we had a problem. We were getting tons of inbound interest from businesses that couldn't afford our agency services, and we could only serve the top 0.01% of the market the way that we were priced, which was great, but we were leaving a lot of money on the table. And these were businesses that were just 3 to 12-ish months away from being able to work with us, but they had the same problems and they really needed help now. So we launched training programs. We taught them how to install simpler and easier to manage versions of our service systems themselves, and some of those people ended up graduating to become agency clients. But even if they didn't, we were generating revenue from a market segment that we had been completely ignoring. This took us from $1 million to $5 million. Then something bigger happened. Companies like ManyChat and Meta started to hire us to consult and build DM funnels for their biggest partners, brands like Nike. So we weren't working with just course creators and coaches anymore. We were working with Fortune 500 companies. And by this point, we had sent over 300 million messages through our systems. So we had the data, we had proof, thousands of clients, case studies, and so we did something that we should have done way earlier. We codified everything into proprietary frameworks. These weren't just best practices, they were actual repeatable systems that are backed by hundreds of millions of data points, and that is what took us from $5 million to $10 million. So 2 lessons here that I want to share. First, once you have proof with high-paying clients, you can create a lighter touch offer to let people experience what it's like working with you with less risk and also prepare to work with you at your highest level. Now, to be clear, this is not you going downstream, meaning you're working with a very different type of unqualified customer. What you're doing is capturing your current customers just 1 step or 2 before they're ready for your premium pricing. Second, document everything and turn it into frameworks. Look for patterns in your client work. What's working? What doesn't? Why? And then turn those patterns and decisions into named frameworks with your branding. And this gives you defensibility and it truly allows you to charge what you're worth. Now, even though I made my first million at 21, I could have done it twice as fast if I'd followed this exact plan. If I were starting today, I obviously wouldn't move to Asia. I wouldn't remove every familiar thing from my life. I'd be super strategic about subtracting complexity so that I could spend as much time as possible focused on figuring out a repeatable process to get clients and get them results. So here's the exact plan that I'd follow. From day 1 to 7, I would choose a B2B niche that you understand or find fascinating. Business to business, not business to consumer. The reason why is because B2B clients, in my experience, are way less emotional, have much bigger budgets, and they make buying decisions based on logic, not feelings or a personal transformation. So it's just easier from my experience when you're getting started. Now, you want to use perplexity.com, one of my favorite AI tools, to research what are people in this niche already buying? What is the pricing of that? And then identify one existing painful and expensive problem that you could solve. If it doesn't cost them money or make them money, they are not going to pay to fix it. So make sure that it does. From day 8 to 14, I would pick one thing that you'll deliver that solves that problem. Maybe you do things faster, bundle multiple solutions they're currently paying different vendors for into one thing, or even cheaper. Don't offer everything though. And start with services, not products. The reason why is because you can sell first and then build later. You are literally getting paid to learn. And to be frank, it teaches you such valuable communication skills and also forces your clients to give you feedback. And finally, research 20 to 30 businesses in the niche that you've chosen. Who are they? What are they doing well? And what are they missing? Now, here's the secret weapon: custom Loom videos. The reason why this still works way better than anything else I've seen is that in the age of AI, everyone is sending cold emails now. Inboxes are being flooded with generic AI-generated messages, but almost nobody sends personalized video messages. So it cuts through the noise instantly. And let me tell you, I have closed deals the same day with cold prospects using this method. I sent a video in the morning to a top-rated podcast and business influencer. They watched it an hour later, messaged me back on Instagram where I sent it. We hopped on a call and the deal was closed by the end of the day. Now, I'm not guaranteeing that that's going to happen to you, but just know that as you get better at this skill, you're going to get a lot more responses than if you just send thousands of cold emails. This is quality over quantity. Here's how to structure your 5-minute video. Start by sharing, ideally their website or one of their social profiles on your screen so that they know right away this was filmed for them. This is not like a generic video you're sending out to thousands of people. And you start by saying something like, "Hey name, I hope," insert something about a current thing that they're promoting. That makes it super relevant, like you literally just looked at their social yesterday, saw something they're talking about, and you put it in here. And for the names, I think the max I've done is 6. So I try to put in as many names as I can of relevant team members that would be decision makers. Then we go, "The reason I'm filming this is because I've been a huge fan of your content, really resonate with your mission. So when I saw your post about so-and-so, I got curious why you're not doing X. And after digging in, I couldn't help myself but put together this blank strategy for you." And at that point, you bring up a flow chart of some kind. Now, when you're talking about the strategy, that's going to have to do with obviously the solution that your service will offer. So for us, it's This will allow you to triple, yes, 3x, the amount of customers you get from the content you're already posting if you just shift the way that you're converting people. Let me explain. So now what you'll do is bring up a credibility slide like in Google Slides, and you can say something like, this whole system uses strategies backed by insert credibility. Now, if you're starting from scratch, you may not have a long list of impressive clients naturally, so this could be that you have spent X amount of hours or you've gathered X amount of data like the top 100 companies in their space, and you've looked at what's working for them and you've broken it down to a science into this whole system that you're going to walk them through. So all of that can be equally powerful as credibility as saying, oh, I've done this for so-and-so brands. Okay, so now in your video, go back to your flowchart and explain how your services essentially work, but you're framing your services as this strategy that you're going to walk them through. And once you do that, then towards the end of the video, you'll go, now everything I've shared is just 5% of what solution can do. I hope that this is helpful and that you either take this and run with it or that we have the opportunity to dive into it on a call. Let me know if you can meet for 15 minutes in the next few days. At the bottom of the video, I'll give you a link to choose your time. Hope to talk to you soon. Now, the video should be so good that they want to forward it to their team, but make it clear that their team probably can't execute it, and that's why they should hire you. Send 50 to 100 of these in the next 2 weeks. You can send via email, Instagram DM, LinkedIn, anywhere that you can reach these people. And your goal is to close 1 to 3 clients at $1,000 to $3,000 each by day 30. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you want more, just hit the subscribe button below. And if you have any questions at all, please feel free to drop a comment below. I actually check them and reply. Thanks for watching.